So this is our project for Mechatronics. This is a RC car controlled by push buttons. This battery pack right here is really powering the entire thing at this point because of when the power comes in right here from the DC battery pack. This cable right here is sending 5 volts through the yellow and the green that come and power here on the Arduino, and that basically saves the entire power and program, and then allows the program to run without being connected to the computer cable that for programming wise. Our program, basically all it is this push button allows the RC car to go back and forth. One thing that we learned during the project, future projects, would be to have a gear reducer on each of the motors to run this. Weight was an issue with just the 2 DC motors, and then the power consumption of just the 8 batteries. Something else we talked about, if we had a gear reduction, depending on the gear reduction we used, we could put two battery packs on to feed the motors and the Arduino, so then that way the amp draw was a little bit higher, allowing us to run it a little bit longer. But basically all the program does is when you press that push button, it goes forward for 1 second, and then it reverses back to for 1 second. In other future programs, other applications you could have did for that, we did set up 4 more inputs. If you had the gear reductions and stuff like that, you could turn, say, this wheel backwards, this wheel forward, and then allow it to turn either direction, and then set up whatever you want, a figure 8, a loop, or whatever like that. This right here is the H-bridge. This component itself is controlled by the outputs of the Arduino right here. 2 of these wires go to one motor, and then the other to the other 2 motors, and basically it just turns on, think of it like a light switch inside here on the H-bridge itself that allows the path for current to go to either motor. This essentially, by just sending one output to there, will allow the current to go through the DC motor either forward or backwards, and then allow it to either obviously have the motor go back or forth. This is our program for our back and forth RC car right now. Pretty much at the top, we just identified what each pin is, as far as those are the inputs going to the H-bridge. That's our push button, and then allowing us to change our timer. And then here is where you set up the pins as far as what they are. So these are all outputs from the Arduino, and these are inputs. One other output that you could put on the H-bridge itself, if you had enough current draw, is right here and here. That basically, the pulse wave, you can control the speed of the motors, and then you could set it up to be an output, and then in your program you just change it from 0 to 250, and 250 being max, obviously 0 being nothing. Then this is the program itself. Basically you had to turn on and off each one depending on what you wanted. So we had to put, if the button was pressed, that's the high voltage is going to it, then it would run this program, go to the timer, run it back, and then go off after the set amount of time. If nothing was happening, if we didn't press nothing, it was just an else statement, then everything's off. So that's our project.